Hey everybody,
I'm Liz.
I'm Terrence.
This is Gadget.
And we are Mingled Thoughts. We're going to talk about a lot of different things on this channel, but one of the things we'll discuss a lot is the traveling that we do. And one of the key things that makes this possible is this, our camper van, which we lovingly call Penny. So today we're going to talk about why we travel around in our camper van and why we decided to build it ourselves. So let's hop into the van and talk about it. So one of the things that we have found is traveling in a camper van is very polarizing. When people hear that we're doing this, they either think we are crazy or they are crazy jealous. There really doesn't seem to be a middle ground. When I first told Liz about our plans, I think she was definitely in the former camp, but over time, she's kind of come around. Okay, maybe there is a middle ground. However, we thought it would be really interesting for all of you to hear why we decided to travel in a camper van and why we decided to build it ourselves. One of the biggest reasons we built our own camper van was because we have this furry little friend who's always up for adventure and pretty much refuses to be left home alone. And let me tell you, trying to find affordable pet-friendly hotels is like trying to find a unicorn. They just don't exist. So we figured, why not build our own hotel on wheels and bring along our pup for the ride? Most of the major design considerations we made were to accommodate this little guy and allow us to take him wherever our adventures may lead. Speaking of adventures, that brings us to point number 2. We love the freedom of the open road and the adventures that we find along the way. One of Liz's and I's favorite quotes from a movie is, "Adventuring out there!" And the van really lets us live that life. There are no strict schedules. There's no boss telling you what to do and when. Well, I guess Liz has a few more rules than the open road, but I guess that's the price you have to pay for living the dream. Now, while a lot of you might find that lack of structure to be kind of daunting, Liz and I get plenty of structure in our day job, and it's pretty much the last thing we need when we are out on vacation. We've been traveling like this ever since we got married and did our honeymoon in Italy, where it was a 15-day trip, and we only had hotels booked for 3 days before we got on our flight. Now, let's be real for a second. One of the best things about traveling in the camper van is bringing all of the best creature comforts from home. I'm talking about the best snacks, the comfiest blankets, and of course our trusty pillows. I mean, who needs fancy hotels when you have all of the best home amenities right at your fingertips? Now, when Liz and I do more normal travel, we definitely pack pretty light. Despite doing international travel for 3 weeks at a time, I haven't actually checked a bag at an airline for more than 20 years. Of course, that really limits what you can bring, but we find that trade-off really worth it. But with the camper van, we don't have to make that trade-off, and that makes traveling infinitely more comfortable and convenient. Now that you understand why we travel in a camper van, let me explain to you why we decided to build our own camper van. And let me say this very clearly. You have to be a little bit crazy to build your own camper van. We've been at this for 2 years and have spent a lot of money and a lot of time on it, and we aren't even close to done. But that being said, we're really glad that we built it, and let me explain to you why. Reason number 1, to be perfectly honest, we didn't have a lot of choice. We decided to start this adventure in December of 2020, right at the height of the pandemic. And all the van builders out there were booked for months in advance, and we were ready to get going right then and there. Besides, reason number 2 was we had very specific needs, and we really didn't want to pay for anything outside of that. Getting a camper van can be really, really expensive, and then it just hurts that much more when you're paying for things that you don't really want. Now, one of those things that we really wanted was to have an AC that ran off of the batteries, and this is for Gadget's sake. But those are only installed in the really high-end camper vans, and with that, you get a bunch of things that, quite frankly, Liz and I didn't really want or need. Reason number 3 was just having optionality. Now, optionality is going to be one of those things I actually talk a lot about on this channel because it is an extremely valuable thing to have. Before Liz and I bought this van, we had actually never traveled in an RV. Now, I do not recommend that, okay? I can't stress that strongly enough, but because we hadn't, we really didn't know what we would want and how we would like to travel. And building our own van allowed us the flexibility to figure that out along the way. So many of the things that we thought we would want, like a cooktop, we ended up deciding just wasn't for us. And having that flexibility to decide that on the fly was extraordinarily valuable. And finally, building the van is just fun. I mean, sure, there were plenty of times I wanted to pull out my hair or throw a hammer across the garage, but at the end of the day, it was totally worth it. There's just something satisfying knowing that if anything breaks down in this van, I can fix it because I probably put it there in the first place. My day job is running software organizations, which means I go to a lot of meetings, and I answer a lot of emails. There's nothing really tangible that comes out of that at the end of the day. Building a van is the exact opposite. There's just so much pride after you've put something into the van and installed it and built it, and seeing that, hey, this is the thing that I did and accomplished that day. So there you have it. There's a peek into our crazy. I mean, don't you have to be just a little bit crazy to do something this big just to make your dog happy? I'd love to hear from you if you have any questions about what we did or how we did it, or I'd love to hear any stories about what you guys did and why you guys travel in a camper van.